Yellow Sallies are nymphs too. You might as well just tie this one, especially if you like to catch fish.
5, fish, food.
Okay, this is a completely inverted jig fly. It's designed to be darker on the top than it is on the bottom. I think that when you're fishing these little small stoneflies, that's a key. I learned a lot from old Mickey Anderson when I was learning how to fish stoneflies way back in the day, and that was one of his things, is two-tone stoneflies work better. Anyway, this is just kind of a play on the Iron Sally. It's been a pattern for a long, long time, a Yellow Sally nymph. So let's just get into it. I've got a size 14 hook with a 3.5 mil bead, but you can put whatever size bead you want on it. Fits your waters that you're fishing. I'd probably fish this one in a 14 and a 16. Anyway, it's important on this fly to keep the body relatively flat and thin, because we're going to tie on a lot of components, and it's got a wire body, so we want to keep that nice and flat. So it's super critical. This has a biot tail, so the original in the bin had really bright yellow biots, so I just kind of toned them down. I found like a goldish color. So whatever color you find or that you like, go ahead and try them out. I'm just going to lay those back to back so they kind of splay out like this. And I'll just take those, and the tails are going to be a little shorter than the body. I'm going to do a loose wrap, kind of a pinch wrap, and then pull that down on top of itself, and that will create a nice little split tail on the back of the fly. From here, I'm just going to use touching turns to go all the way up the body of the fly until about the thorax area. It's okay if those twist a little bit, so we're just going to cut those off. Okay, so I'm going to continue to unwind my thread on this. That's why I like this bobbin. It's kind of got a longer neck, and I can really grab it and twist it, and it twists nice and even. I'm going to lay down a piece of thin skin. I've got a piece of thin skin, maybe, what is it, about a little thinner than the bead. And the trick to this is I'm going to tie the thin skin on the underside of this fly, which will turn out to be the top. But it's kind of a pain in the butt to get it in there. So I'm going to kind of come in here like this and tie it in right here. And then once I have that tied in like that, if I take this and flip it over to the other side, it will straighten everything out pretty well. So once I straighten that out, kind of keep that on top a little bit, wrap that back to the tails. All right. So for the body of this fly, it's just going to be a piece of wire. I'm using Semperfli wire for this. It's the 0.2 millimeters. You can do it with a little bit thicker wire if you want, but this tends to work for me. And I'm just going to run that wire directly down the back, or this is actually going to be the belly of this fly. Okay, so you probably noticed I had to adjust this thin skin. It was kind of riding on one side. So I hurried and adjusted that and made it sit right on the bottom. So I'm just going to wind this wire back, taking a lot of care to make my thread flat. So I'm going to wrap that all the way back to the tails, and then just come forward. And up here at the head, you know, it's not quite as flat up here. There's a little bit of bumps going on, but that's just because that's where the thorax is going to go. Alright, so my first few wraps I'll do with the fly position like this. I'm going to do 4 turns right next to each other. That's 3, so here's 4. So on the 4th one, I'm going to take this thin skin, and I'm going to pull that over and I'll catch it down just like that. Let's see, like that. Then I'll pull the thin skin back and really work the wire up against that tie down and do 4 more wraps. So once I get up to here, I'll pull that over again, pull it down again, so you can see I'm creating a nice little clean wing case. Squatch, we're filming, bro. Alright, so I followed that sequence all the way up, and now I'm ready to tie that off. So I'm going to use this excess thin skin for the wing case, so I'll just catch that wire and we'll get rid of it. Let's see, my tails got munched together a little bit, so we'll try to split them out again a little bit. There we go, just like that. Okay, now I've found to finish up this fly, I like to turn it back in this configuration. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tie in some little legs, and I think rubber legs are too bulky for this size of a fly, so that's why they went with crystal flash. So it's just black crystal flash, and I'm just going to tie in a leg on that side, and then pull that over, same piece, and make a leg on this side. So as you can see, I've got 2 little outriggers going on, and then we'll put 4 more legs on it. I'll adjust these just a little bit. Okay, so for the thorax, it's actually pretty simple. It's just like a light yellow ice dub. There are lots of cool ice dub brands out there, but the hairline one really does the job for this one. The light yellow is actually very easy to dub compared to some of them, so I like it a lot. So I will just start dubbing that thorax, making sure to keep my legs nice and positioned. And I'll just dub that up to the head. Okay, so once I'm up here, I'm just going to take the same piece of crystal flash and I'm going to tie a set of legs on each side of the hook. I'll loop it around just like I always do with rubber legs and tie that other section behind the hook. So I'll get those trimmed up so you can see what the vision is here. Anyway, so this is how I've got my legs so far. The easiest way to trim all these, the length you want, is just to grab them all and push them all forward and just trim them a little bit longer than the bead. So now when those kick out, they're all just like that. One stop trim. Okay, so now for the wing case, I'm just gonna trim it about like that, and to get that to lay down, I'll just push it back and let me make sure it's nice and pushed. Push that back and catch it just with like one layer of thread. Just make sure you don't ding up your legs on this part. Only reason I'm doing this is because we're doing it for the fancy YouTube. You got to make sure it's good. All right, so at this point, we'll just whip finish. If I can find my whip finisher. But while I find my whip finisher, I'll tell you, please subscribe to our channel. We know you're watching, and some of you aren't subscribed. So just do it. It's not that hard. Just click the little subscribe button. Okay, so we're going to trim that off, and then you can leave it just like that, but the original has a little notch cut in it, so that cut's easy, that first cut. To get the other one, I usually snip or put it upside down and come in here. Got to angle my whole body. So anyway, that's it. There's a version of the Iron Sally called the Jig Montana Sally, and to finish it off, we'll throw a little bit of Trout Hunter cement. But go fish them. Fish are eating Sallies, and they're not all dry flies.